Hey, what's going on? You know who it is, you know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right, I didn't get a chance to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this now because one, I wanted to do a little more research, and I wanted to wait till I had all my ducks in a row and, things of that sort before I decided to talk about this particular subject, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to give the Mayonnaise Nation, the Powdered Milk Village, an opening. Because where we see things a certain way, they see it really only one way. And most of the time, they only see it as it's always our fault, no matter what. Especially when it comes to these incidents with the police. It's always our fault, no matter what, whether we armed or unarmed, without them doing proper research. Because at the end of the day, they have a certain agenda that they want to portray and keep. They have a certain image that they want to portray when it comes to us. But they really ain't talking about this. They really ain't talking about this, because this is just real talk. They kind of just shied away from this particular one. They kind of been like, well, maybe we should touch this one. And I understand, because keep in mind, even though most of the time when it comes to these things, these situations, and we try to have a civilized discussion, most of the time the Mayonnaise Nation gonna see it one way. And then for some reason they get irritated and upset when you basically know why they have the stance they have, when it's clearly because of their race and how they've been conditioned to believe and perceive a certain group of people that they're only one way. They do this, they do that, and that's how you're supposed to look at all of them. And we should all be perceived that way, as if we can't be different. But these are the same people that holler about forgiveness and second chances. Oh, they only holler forgiveness and second chances when they do something to us. When it's us, we do something to them, you never hear the end of it. We're the worst people in the world, and I told you so about these people. But let me get back, to Mr. Wallace. Now, he was shot and killed in front of his mother in the city of Philadelphia. Since then, there have been, protesters, rioting, etc., etc. But this is a different kind of case. Now, keep in mind, they have video of him, like, going towards the police with, like, some little tiny-ass knife that probably couldn't even have did no serious damage. But instead of the police shooting him in the leg, possibly, or using their tasers, they opened fire. They let off, I think, 4 shots in between them. I think he was shot at least 8 times, and he pretty much died right on the spot in front of his mother, family, and friends. Now, I'm going to get to the dudes that was standing out there, because to a certain degree, I got to get at y'all. And you might not like what I have to say, but ask me, do I give a damn? Okay? It's real talk. Now, they have 911 calls, all this type of stuff, at least between 5 and 7. Now, the police are going to release their body cam footage, but they have the 911 calls. Now, apparently, Mr. Wallace suffered from bipolar, and his mother kept saying he had a mental condition. And bipolar is an official mental condition, which means you have to take medication. If he was diagnosed, that is an official mental condition. Now, what they're saying is that they had a 302. He was a 302. Which means he was having a mental breakdown, which meant they were supposed to call him like a paramedic. And those police did not do their job. They were the first ones who responded to the scene. But instead of them trying to subdue him, to, basically handcuff him and possibly put him, in the paramedic van, well, they shot him up. Now, getting to all them niggas that was standing out there, it was dozens of people out there. For all y'all that was sitting out there saying, oh, that's messed up, and filming and taking out the cameras, why didn't y'all try to wrestle that dude to the ground and try to take the knife from him and just hold him steady until the paramedics got there, or at least to where the cops can subdue him? Sometimes you gotta do more than film shit. And I don't want to hear, well, he had a knife. So 20 of y'all can't stand behind the dude, wrestle him to the ground. For real? Because let me tell you a story. You can save that. At this particular Walmart in San Leandro, California, there was a man who basically did something inappropriate to a little boy. Now the little boy, was screaming, and of course the dude that did it tried to run out the store. But there was these two brothers, and it was only two of them. They wrestled the dude to the ground, and they was able to hold him down till loss prevention got there. They handcuffed the dude, and they held him until the cops got there. So you mean to tell me all them dudes that was standing out there couldn't wrestle that dude to the ground? I mean, y'all could do it any other time. That's all I'm saying. And don't come here getting in your feelings. Oh, it ain't my job. Okay. But you made it your job to film. Sometimes you can't film everything. And I looked at the dude. It wasn't like the dude was 6'8", 320 pounds. But nevertheless, it is what it is. It's a whole bunch of scenarios that could have been prevented. But nevertheless, his family got a legitimate lawsuit against the police department because they didn't follow protocol. And they got called for 302. So they supposed to know that procedure. And for people that's gonna come in here, well, he had a knife, what was he supposed to do? But what about that dude in Pennsylvania that was basically shooting an AK-47 at the police, shot at the police, didn't run towards him, lunge towards him. He literally shot at the police, tried to kill him. And somehow, some way, he only got shot in the leg. But then they dumped 8 shells into Walter Wallace. And that's why people been pretty quiet. Because see, you white supremacists can't answer that question. See, you can't defend that. You can't defend a black man who got some little tiny knife getting shot up 8 times who had a mental condition versus a white dude who literally just tried to kill the police. He refused to surrender. Now, if there would have been any justification to use deadly force, that would have been one. Hey, he shot at the police. It's really nothing you can do. Once you shoot at the police, then it's just no way you can get out of it. They have every right to use deadly force. They have the option of shooting you in the leg. like they did him. It just goes to show you they valued his life. But they didn't value Mr. Wallace's life. That's why they dumped 8 shells in him. And those cops should lose their job because they didn't follow procedure. Now, I know that they been some rioting and all that kind of stuff over in that area. The mayor brought in the National Guard, and he told the National Guard and the police under no circumstances are they to shoot anybody. I mean, I think it's a little too late for that. And if you go look at the history of the Philadelphia PD, I dug up some stories where they found out at least almost half of their police force had some type of ties to, well, I ain't gonna say half, a big percentage of their police force had some kind of ties to white supremacy groups. So that's another concern. That's another issue, once again, that they don't want to address. To me, I think it's too easy to become a cop. To me, I think you need to have extensive background checks. Because you call yourself basically being an officer of the law, and they putting a badge and a gun in your hand. So you tell me. Real talk. What's wrong with this picture, though? This just happens too much. Just too much. The police just have, with black men or black people in general, hey, just shoot them, kill them. With a person, you know, a person of no color, it's like, do whatever you can to try to bring him in alive. So yeah, dude's family is looking at a big time lawsuit. Because like I said, if he suffered from being bipolar, that is a legit mental condition. Bipolarism is like when you have up and down behavior. One minute you just can be extremely happy, and then you can just be depressed, and then you just feel like, to a certain degree, you can get to a point to where you just get really violent. Now they saying this man was married and all that kind of stuff. So they said he had an outburst. And that's what led to him like going off. Once again, the police got called for 302. So you could save that stuff about, well, what was they supposed to do? They was just doing a job. And no, they wasn't doing a job. They were supposed to try to subdue the man before. They were supposed to try to subdue the man until the paramedics got there. They wasn't supposed to shoot him. So nice try. But nevertheless, you know, this is all I have to say about that for right now. I'm waiting till more facts come out. This your boy Town Biz. I'm out.